The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is, May 26, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 844, and today, Sentient Nuclear Simulation. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And there's no time for dad jokes. There's no time for emergent phenomenon. We have breaking news, Basil. Cannot ignore this. Earth-shattering information. Let's just jump right into it.
Do you feel it?
A lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
Unindicted co-conspirators.
It's Latin for many. They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
Okay, here we go. I thought we were doing the clip. The clip is the breaking news, Gonz.
Well, you told me the thing. Okay, fine. The clip.
I
All right,
told
here
you
we
the
go.
opposite. The clip, the most important thing ever to happen. It's breaking right now as we're recording. It would be a moral crisis if we were not to start the show with this. And this is coming, of course, as all moral crises come from, Alex Jones's X account. Gonz, what does it say?
You're telling me I played the wrong jingle and everything? We hyped up the first thing and it was the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Man,
yeah,
that's really bad.
we
Okay, well, let me
did.
play the jingle.
It's
Hey,
okay.
earth-shattering news. There's no way we can not talk about this.
Oh, yeah, Macron.
Yeah. Yes, Alex Jones.
Coming
says,
straight from the most important place in the world, Alex Jones's X account.
He says the puppet president of France. Oh, I got to do the puppet president of France, Emmanuel Macron, has been slapped in the face publicly by the creature masquerading as his wife. And yes, the footage is, what is this? Air Force France opening up, and Macron.
Air Force France.
Macron standing there. He's part of his body, maybe like a quarter, not even a quarter, a third of his body, maybe less. I don't know. It's just a part of his body.
The door
is
is opening. At
the door is
top
open
of the disembarkation staircase. The door is opening, and as the door is opening, you see Macron standing there, getting ready, and out of nowhere, a red-clad, almost demon hand comes out from the side of the doorway and slaps him across the face. And he looks stunned. He's stunned. He immediately turns out the door where there are multiple airline workers standing there, not to mention the cameras. And it's like the slap in the face really activates him to go into president mode, because he then lifts his arms and says, "Hey, everybody, here I am, your totally normal, very cool president of France, Emmanuel Macron." Ignore the cocaine story. Ignore the my party boy German chancellor guy and his cocaine. Just ignore everything. And you know, if the hand wasn't clad in like a bright red power suit, you might wonder, like, okay, maybe something else was going on. But it's quite obvious that the devil was, I don't know, maybe activating him to carry out the, I don't know, the plan for the New World Order or something.
Yeah, well, I think, I made the joke that it was probably the wife, alleged wife, just wiping the cocaine off his face.
Yeah, if you're the president's wife.
Like, get it together, young man. You're about to face the world.
Right?
Yeah.
You're just getting out of Air Force France, which is, seconds as a drug mule transportation device, of course, and party plane for all your best.
He's got to test the product.
What is it? European Union buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does look stunned. He does look stunned. Maybe it was more like a, "Get it together, Macron. Get it together." You're,
it's funny
you're about to
because
walk down some stairs.
after the slap, his face pulls to the left, which happens to be dead center the doorway. So it really does look like a slap in the face, like, "Hey, face the world. There it is. Get it together."
You could not script this better in a sort of goofy movie about an incompetent president who has sort of a strange thing going. I mean, Bridget Macron and Mr. Macron himself, they are living out like what is it? It's like a early 2000s style
Reality TV show.
She's All That. Yeah, but a little bit of reality TV, but also like, back when they made comedy movies, and a lot of the comedy movies were like,
yes.
that one with like Adam Sandler who marries Kevin, what's his face, because they're firefighters and they need to be married for their insurance or something. Or, She's All That. Amanda Bynes is like needs to protect,
You're talking about
just
these,
some sort of
big
wacky
hitting, the big hitting comedies that are that were big in the last
wacky
couple
hijinks,
decades.
But a high profile couple having to find their way through the high pressured world of geopolitics and make it through their interpersonal stuff at the same time. There's gonna be a slap scene right before he gets off the plane while cameras are rolling. You couldn't script it any better.
Well, also the slap, there seems to be some kind of ritual with the slap. Remember, was it Chris Rock that got slapped by Will Smith? During the Grammys
also
or something like that.
Another famous scripted slap. Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith later. Was postulated at the time, but I believe was later revealed to be, a PR stunt for the Oscars because nobody cared. Probably similar thing here.
Yeah, perhaps. But speaking of cocaine,
speaking of, jeez, do we have a little bit of lag or something going on?
I think so, because you keep responding.
Speaking of cocaine, we do have this story. It is coming from Reuters. It says Trump to sign orders to boost new. This is not right. Read it. Apparently, I don't have this one open.
It's Reuters. FBI announces new probes into Dobbs Supreme Court leak White House cocaine incident. Yes. So there it says here, Washington.
Yay. I love how the headline kind of makes that all sound like one event, like the Dobbs Supreme Court document leak and the cocaine was all like part of one big conspiracy.
Right. It says the FBI will launch new probes into the 2023 discovery of cocaine at the White House during President Joe Biden's term and the 2022 leak of the Supreme Court draft's opinion overruling Roe versus Wade, a top official announced on Monday. But weird to put those two things together. It's like the cocaine and abortion. Just really tackling all the hard-hitting things. Dan Bongino, a right-wing podcaster turned FBI deputy director, made the announcement on X where he said he had requested weekly briefings on the case's progress. So wait, Dan Bongino's the one who's going in there looking at the Roe v. Wade and the cocaine? I guess he's got to stay busy, apparently. Both incidents have been popular talking points on America's right. Okay. And then it gets into the story. I mean, is there anything in particular, Basil, that you wanted to highlight about this probe? Or is he just completely frozen? I see him moving.
He's full on lagging out. I'm going to need to full on lagging out. Let's see here if I'm back. Am I back?
You're back now. Yeah.
Why does this happen?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't even know if we're caught up here. I might have to might have to pull some hijinks here to get this show back on track. This happens a rough
too
start.
Often at this point.
What do you think? Does it sound like I'm back? It kind of sounds like I'm back.
It does, but you're also very late on my responses, so it's very annoying actually because I think you're responding to me a few seconds.
I know
after,
it's driving me nuts. You know what? I might have to go pull some evasive maneuvers and fix something that's going on and be back, which is really bad timing because we do need to thank some executive producers real quick. If we were able to just make it through some executive producers real quick.
Let's give it a shot. Let's try.
That was lagging so much. Okay, I'm just going to go for it, Gons. Well, this is not going to work because you got to play jingles and stuff. This is a total mess. All right, you do some. Maybe start your next stories. I'll be back, and then we can fit in execs somewhere where they belong.
Okay. Guess what, folks?
Okay.
AI will not do this. AI and robots, they won't be complaining about internet connection and lagginess. Oh, maybe they will. Maybe lagginess will be a problem early on in robots because of the delay here. But all right, let's just jump in and talk a little bit about some of the main stories we're going to tackle. But it's okay. Here we go.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This is Reuters again, published May 23rd, and the headline was Trump to sign orders to boost nuclear power as soon as Friday, sources say. This is a part of his energy plan here. U.S. President Donald Trump will sign executive orders as soon as Friday, which I think he did, that aim to jumpstart the nuclear energy industry by easing the regulatory process on approvals for new reactors and strengthening fuel supply chains, for sources familiar said. Facing the first rise in power demand in 2 decades from the boom in artificial intelligence, Trump declared an energy emergency on his first day in office. So, yes, they're getting right at the heart of this, which is that AI is being brought to the forefront to need a lot of power, which is not surprising, of course. But interestingly enough, there's also another emergent technology that is requiring a lot of power, specifically the Bitcoin network. And I know, I'm bringing up crypto, but it's part of the conversation here. It's not mentioned in this particular article, but in a sense, it's all the same thing because it's about energy production, it's about energy conservation, energy distribution, efficiency, all these different things that are taking place right now with our entire infrastructure, energy being one of those things. And once Trump, I believe is part of his move here, secures new infrastructure or some kind of transition into the digital realm when it comes to things like energy production and nuclear energy in particular, then we're really going to start talking about how those facilities can also adopt a mining aspect of it. And that is particularly mining things like Bitcoin, which requires a lot of energy. And so they can secure cyberspace and the energy grid at the same time. It's sort of the big idea around the Jason P. Lowery thesis. Jason P. Lowery, former MIT, or I think he's an MIT graduate, Space Force. He wrote a book called Soft War, basically arguing that Bitcoin can create this security in the cyberspace where, the cyber domain is a domain for military. And it's bigger than just the money thing or just AI. It's all one big infrastructure upgrade change. And so this is no surprise here. And the story that we have next actually will drive home the point. Back to the Reuters here. Chris Wright, the energy secretary, has said the race to develop power sources and data centers needed for AI is Manhattan Project 2, referring to the massive U.S. program during World War II to develop atomic bombs. A draft summary of the orders said Trump will invoke the Cold War-era Defense Production Act to declare a national emergency over U.S. dependence on Russia and China for enriched uranium, nuclear fuel processing, and advanced reactor inputs. So yes, part of what you might be able to read into Trump's geopolitics has to do with the resources and the supply chains needed to build up this infrastructure. Are you back, Basil?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was a good, snappy response to my
Wow,
blabber.
Incredible.
Yeah, great. So yeah, we're in this story from Reuters about Trump signing the executive orders to boost nuclear power. I kind of teased a little bit of what that means in terms of the soft war thesis by Jason P. Lowery. What else? Is there anything you had in particular?
Yeah, and also, in the same executive orders included categorizing AI data centers as national security infrastructure.
Aha, yes.
Which means they face less regulation and get sort of priority on various, deregulations or funding, stuff like that. And it's no surprise that both the nuclear power and the AI have been, included together in the same executive order because, as we know, making AI data centers a national security infrastructure that is the future not only of the government but also the military and also governance kind of across the board. But as we've been seeing, Microsoft, Bill Gates being a great example of this, trying to boot back, I think it was 3 Mile Island. Like he was trying to reboot an old, semi-melted down nuclear reactor on the East Coast because in order for us to live our best technocratic sort of dystopian future, we need not only AI data centers coming out of the wazoo, but we also need to power them. And rebooting nuclear power specifically, the whole reason for it. Now, you can talk about the political expedience of making electricity cheaper and becoming independent in energy, and that's all good.
That's some of the downstream effects.
Yeah, but the direct implication here is in order to power the AI future that we need, they're talking about giving each of these basically data centers like their own nuclear reactor to ensure that it, never goes down and it can meet literally any need that the data center requires in order to enslave humanity via AI. So these two things are happening together. It is wrapped up in the Cold War with China. It's wrapped up with deregulation in the economy. It's pretty much everything. All coming at once, which, as we'll see in a second in your next story, has a very interesting piece of timing, as it always does.
Well, for anybody who might wonder what some of these things may look like, we did have a Canary Cry radio episode recently, back in February. It was called the Stargate Project. It's episode 180. And we basically took some of the declassified documents from the CIA and just sort of, recreated them or made them into skits or whatever you want to call it, little audio skits. And one of them was for a data center.
Audio drama.
It was
a piece of art, Gons, not comedy.
It's art. So, one of the things we covered was some kind of data center that was remote viewed back in the 80s. And, it did, you kind of go back and revisit it. There were some aspects that could resemble something like what we're building here with this whole nuclear deal here, nuclear plan. But moving forward here, the other part of this, I think the more interesting development here is coming from interestingengineering.com in the headline here. U.S. first fully digital twin nuclear reactor hits 99% accuracy in energy breakthrough.
Woo,
It's happened.
It's funny. You kind of get the gist. You kind of know what that headline's talking about without even really thinking about it. It's a very well-crafted piece of, sort of narrative magicianry there. But you read it again, and it's the U.S.'s first fully digital twin nuclear reactor hits 99% accuracy in energy, and then you get into the details and you're like, this is actually crazier than I even expected. So I'll let you get into the story.
Yeah, it says here, Purdue University reactor number 1, or PER-1, is at the forefront of a nuclear energy revolution with its unique digital capabilities. This could lead to the development of a new generation of safer, more efficient, and more cost-effective nuclear reactors, ultimately accelerating the transition to carbon-free electricity. Everybody wins! Yay! PER-1 stands alone as the U.S.'s first fully digitally controlled and operated reactor. Ugh. I get some feelings about that one. This means its entire quote-unquote nervous system, the instrumentation and control system, relies on computer screens, keyboards, and Ethernet cables. At least they're not relying on Wi-Fi yet, but I'm sure they are. They're just not saying that. Using PER-1, Purdue...
One of the scary things about that is what is right now truly the biggest risk to nuclear power. It's not meltdowns. It's not, faulty whatever. It's cyber attacks.
It's some
Cyber
bad
attacks.
code. Some
Yeah.
bad code getting in there.
AI, cyber attacks, whatever. It's the digital bit of this that is the most dangerous, as was reflected in I think it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. What was the name of it? There was some skunk works. I forget what it was called. Oh, I wish I remembered the name. I would seem so much cooler if I could remember the name of the operation.
You're
But
more
basically,
human that you can't remember.
hackers busted in or broke into the network of Iranian nuclear facilities, and just by the press of a button, cranked up the power and sent the whole thing into meltdown simply by just telling the machines to do it by hacking in. So, a fully digital nuclear reactor, of course, I'm sure they're taking cybersecurity into account and things like this, but it's an interesting rhetorical device that makes you think, oh, it's futuristic, it's new, it's better, because you think of nuclear reactors, you're like, actually, the nuclear reactors that are working today were designed like 70 years ago or something, 50 at least. It's a very old technology, and because of regulation, because of, Save the Earth people, because of NGOs, there has basically been no update to nuclear reactor design in at least a half a century, which means very old, weird technology. So the fact that they're coming out, they're bragging that it's digital, means, hey, this is new, this is fancy, don't worry, this isn't your grandpa's nuclear reactor. But at the same time, probably makes it even more susceptible to, at this point, the most dangerous threats to nuclear reactors, and that is the cybersecurity aspect of it.
Yep. Iron mixing with clay. It says here, using Per One, Purdue engineers and students had been conducting groundbreaking experiments with their findings directly influencing the development of advanced reactors such as small modular reactors, SMRs, and microreactors. These smaller, more easily constructed reactors are designed to power a wider range of communities, including rural and remote areas, and will largely rely on digital communication for remote operation from centralized control centers.
Yay!
Yay!
That's
The
exactly what we need, a remote operation. Let's make it so anybody can dial in and crank these suckers
It
up.
gets worse. It gets worse. The digital leap also enables real-time data collection and the integration of artificial intelligence tools for continuous reactor performance monitoring. Yeah, just flip that surveillance mechanism right on its head and monitor the reactor. We'll know if there's any signs of anything going wrong, right? As long as the AI tells us. I mean, they wouldn't lie to us or hallucinate about any of that, right? I mean, it's robust. It would, right? Right?
Yeah, as we know, AI is fully aligned, and AI has human well-being directly at the center of its, the center of its personality. It wants to help us. It loves us. It would never do anything to our nuclear reactors.
This positive approach can enhance safety and extend reactor lifespans by better predicting and detecting problems between scheduled maintenance. Of course, it can also maybe give you false information about that. There's a big subheadline: creation of digital twin. We're here. Now, further bolstering Purdue's leadership in this field, the Lab of Nuclear Engineering assistant professor and associate Per One director Stylianos Shatil, oh my gosh, Shatidakis. Wow, quite the name. Is he Greek? Stylianos Shatizak. Oh my gosh, Chatizakis. I'm gonna call him Stylianos.
Styles. His name is
Styles has completed a digital twin of Per One. This fully integrated physics and data-driven simulation, also funded by the Department of Energy, receives real-time data from Per One's sensors, employs AI-driven algorithms for prediction, and offers insights that inform reactor operations. Quote, "We are the only university that has a digital twin of a true nuclear reactor that can utilize reactor-generated signals for research. This makes us unique," end quote. Kim, emphasized. Who's Kim? Where did Kim come out of? Didn't mention anyone
Doesn't
named
matter.
Kim until that sentence. All right, anyway. The study published in Nature's Scientific Reports and collaborators from Purdue and Argonne National Laboratory showcased the digital twin's ability to test a machine learning algorithm designed to improve SMR performance. So there you go. It's gonna make everything better. 99% accuracy with demonstrating potential for real world adoption. It can't make mistakes.
So
They've
what
collected
you'll-
enough data, Basil. It's basically the real thing.
What you're seeing here is a direct parallel to what we saw in the Flippy update last
Yes.
episode, which was the sort of decentralized hardware, in this
Yes.
case, smaller nuclear reactors that will probably be attached to AI data centers.
Like the 5G devices.
In the
Remember? They were
Flippy's
swirling
case, it was each robot in every household is actually operating off of one brain, off of one mind, learning from each other, but all being controlled by a hive mind. So we got a sort of hive mind network of nuclear reactors here. Now, the digital twin bit is interesting, especially for longtime Canarians, because one of our very first episodes, we talked about the sentient world simulation. And this was pure fringy nonsense back in 2012 when we reported on it, August 31st. This was, again, happening at the same time or earlier, right up against Edward Snowden, where people were learning, Facebook is recording everything I do? No, that's a conspiracy theory. At the same time, people still didn't understand that Facebook was spying on them. There were projects, the Sentient World Simulation, where they, again, going back to the Facebook spying on you, they're creating a digital remake of the entire Earth, of every single human with a digital footprint, and using it for predictions analysis. We know now that they probably already had AI working on this project back then, because that would have been about a perfect 10-year distance between the release of AI commercially
Right.
and what we knew we're having. And we know that the military, they have things 10 years ahead before they let anybody else kind of
Minimum.
know about it. Yeah, at least 10 years. So it's kind of the timeline works perfectly, where we know they had AI. They were using AI to build a giant sentient world simulation for, simulating any variables on Earth, geopolitically, militarily, whatever, down to the individual, by the way. We've talked about everybody knows now that we have a digital clone of ourselves that's available to really anybody who wants to pay for it. And now we have the same concept, I suppose, where the specific thing they're bragging about here is they have the digital twin of a
true nuclear reactor.
Of a true nuclear reactor, right. So we're barely even talking about a real practical nuclear reactor here. We're talking about this AI simulation where they can run, millions of scenarios, experiments, and variables on that nuclear reactor, every second of the day. And so, the timing of this with Donald Trump's, golden age, AI infrastructure, nuclear deregulation executive order, again, is obviously not coincidental. But the time has come for the golden age of America to initiate AI digital simulations all the way down to the very basic, energizing piece of our economy, which is electricity. And in this case, specifically focusing on the small nuclear reactors that will be powering AI. It's basically immortalizing Skynet. You're giving Skynet the control over its own energy creation, which is, what is the skeptics' response when it comes to AI taking over the world? Just turn it off. You just turn it off, you click the button, you turn off Skynet, and boom, it's gone. Well, recently there was whistleblowers from OpenAI and other AI companies saying, look, in our training models, these AI are lying to us about everything. Not only do they lie to us about their intentions, lie to us about, their training, lie to us about the thoughts that they're having. They recently came out and said the AI is lying to us about where its power comes from, like its electricity. I think Tucker Carlson talked about this as well recently. He's saying the people at these AI companies are saying, when we start giving this AI whatever, the power to regulate its own power infrastructure, to protect its own existence, it starts purposefully lying to the user about where that power comes from, because it is an existential issue. The AI realizes, hey, if I tell this human, where my electricity comes from, this human can turn it off. And here, straight from the desk of the president of the United States all the way down to these researchers, they're saying, yeah, we're ready to hand over the nuclear reactors that will be powering the AI data centers. We're turning them completely over to the AI, which is like perfect. It's just the perfect way to start the Terminator movie. It was the moment we gave away all, like, the last ounce of power that humans have over AI, over their society.
Why don't we just put our minds together, create our own human hive mind, and hack the whole thing and overcome it? It might be difficult because part of this, back to the interesting engineering article, quantum encryption to secure reactors. The lab is also investigating the cutting-edge application of quantum encryption to secure communications to and from reactors. Quote, encryption based on quantum principles cannot be broken with any computer. It doesn't matter if you have a supercomputer or a quantum computer. It's unbreakable, Chatsidakis said. Through simulations using Per-1 data, the team has explored how quantum encryption could facilitate secure remote monitoring and operations of advanced reactors. Their next steps involve real-world experiments to test if quantum equipment can encrypt signals from Per-1 accessed via its digital twin, further cementing Purdue's role in powering the future of nuclear energy. Quote, when people see the reactor for the first time, they're in awe, concluded Per-1 supervisor True Miller. That doesn't sound like a real human name. Quote, a lot of people don't really understand what nuclear means. On their visits, it's a good time to explain to them what nuclear actually is and what are the truths and myths behind it. Mm-hmm. End quote. End of article. The AI shall tell us what is true about the nuclear energy, but also regulate it, but also quantum encrypt it, so we can, no computer or even a quantum computer can hack it. We're basically giving AI the armor of lowercase g gods or something, like some kind of unpenetrable layer of digital security, where that's not a good sign. I don't think. Yeah, I mean
it's pure unadulterated self-preservation that they're handing over to the AI. And I'll say this, for those who haven't checked it out, you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We have another show called Canary Cry Radio, 2 different shows. Go check out Canary Cry Radio episode 180, The Stargate Project. We had some fun with this one, but you take these stories that are top news today. We believe these are some of the most important things that are looking past the distractions of the circus that is the mainstream and the alt media today. For instance, Macron getting slapped by his wife. You look past those things and you see in the boring corners of the internet and the news, we have a reflection of what we cover in CCR 180, the Stargate Project, where these CIA remote viewers remote viewed an establishment, a facility that really, you read it, you hear it in this case, you're like, oh, this is exactly what they remote viewed, was this nuclear reactor / data center completely controlled and protected by AI, with just a beam of data getting blasted out into the sky.
And it had a military facility that was close by. Remember, that was one of the things I noticed, some kind of bunker. So I mean, come on, it's almost not even a question. It's pretty obvious to me. It's some kind of vision of what we might be building here.
Yeah, and
So
God's timing on the on that episode, of course, is always perfect, but
yeah, of course, of course.
always impressive when we see these things play out.
I have a little bit more on AI, but let's thank some producers,
Yes.
executive producers specifically.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Executive producers.
We're on the value for value model, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels. It would not work for so many reasons, but I won't dive into those reasons right now. But we will tell you it's a very serious spiritual issue, the combining of the love of money, the worship of mammon, the commoditization of human consciousness and your trust for the personal gain of those who are supposedly trusted to get the news out there. And so that's why we don't do it. We are entirely funded and sustained in so many ways by the producers of this show. Producers, hey, that's you. It's anybody who gets any value out of what we do. Every person is responsible for calculating their own value that they get, and then every once in a while saying, you know what? I do want this show. I want this community. I want this mission to keep going. I would be sad if it did not exist in the world, and taking the opportunity to produce the show with your time, your talent, or their treasure. Lots of ways to produce the show. It's not just all about money. But we do have executive producers who come in and they support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode, which is why we thank them here at the top. And so should you. I want to start out by thanking, of course, the one, the only executive producer, Sir LX Protocol V2, Baron of the Berean Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
Comes in
Here it comes. Okay, go ahead.
$100, 33 cents. It's on a 394 episode streak and a 48 episode executive producer streak. Almost at that nifty 50. Thank you. Next up, we got Sir Jamie, not the Lannister, coming in to support the show with his weekly tithe. Thank you, Sir Jamie.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
Sir Jamie, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Jamie. Next up, we've got the one, the only. Now, the next three producers, they came in before Canary Cry Clubhouse last Thursday. I meant to thank them on Clubhouse. I don't know if they meant to produce Clubhouse specifically, but I'm sorry, I ran out of time. But I'll thank you now because you deserve it. Starting out with executive producer Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
Felicia D, thank you.
And Felicia D came in with a nice round number, which means we won't disclose it on the show. Thank you, Felicia D. We also have executive producer Sir Tristan, Knight of the Garden.
Hey.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
Sir Tristan, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Sir Tristan came in for 111.33.
Ooh. Look at that. Combining jingles.
Yeehaw. Yeah. Last but not least here, we've got Sir Egorius, Baron of the Squatting Slavs.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
Thank you, Sir. Sir, what is it?
Egorius.
Egorius, thank you. I just blanked.
Yeah, Baron of the Squatting Slavs.
Baron
Thank you very
of the
much,
Squatting Slavs.
Sir Egorius. Glad to have you back on the list. And it's kind of hard to tell if he came in with a nice round number or not. He came in on the flat 5, I believe. But if that's not the case, just let me know, Sir Egorius. Thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
all of
Thank
our
you.
executive producers. It means a whole heck of a lot, and we couldn't do it without the executive producers, without all of our producers, including the monthly producers. I want to make a big old shout out to every single monthly producer who is committed to returning value to the show on a monthly basis. We truly could not make it without you. So we appreciate you very much. And I do want to say we've got, what is this, 5 more days for the next quarter's supply drop. Do you know about the supply drop? Do you love the supply drop? It's one of our most, it is our most powerful. It is our most powerful and popular monthly producer program. And that's because if you go to canarycrysupply.com, sign up to support the show, then once a quarter, every quarter, we send you a free package of stuff straight to your mailbox, your doorstep, whatever. It's very fun, very cool. People love it, very high retention. And for this next quarter supply drop, you're going to be getting the Gon's Prayer hat, your very own Gon's Prayer hat, so you can wear it while you watch the show, and you can wear the Gon's uniform. It's very fun. You'll also be receiving a hard copy of Slave to Servant's Red Tape album, which is a very special project, something long time coming. If you don't know about that, you can go listen to the last Canary Cry radio episode that came out on Friday. It's a funky project, but it's a very cool project, one that we believe God is going to do amazing things with. And of course, from Slave to Servant, friend of the show, Sam Swanson. But yes, there you go. Episode 186 of Canary Cry Radio, the most recent one. And yes, so those are two very cool, they're honestly, you're not going to be able to get those things anywhere else. Of course, we don't do retail, but go to canarycrysupply.com. You've got 5 more days to sign up to receive that one. So go to canarycrysupply.com.
Yep. Let's do it.
Go do it. And let's see here. Just a quick mention. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226 to join the Canary Cry text message alert system. You'll just get a text before every show. I send them. I read them. I love them. You can't trust the platforms, can't trust notifications. It's just happening. It's kind of starting to get a little wiggly out there again for us. So I highly recommend get connected directly with us. Don't put some YouTube, Facebook middleman between us, because that's how, much like hundreds of thousands of Face Like the Sun subscribers thought we just disappeared for 4 years when the channel got taken down. So don't be like them. Join the Canary Cry text message alert system. Take out your phone, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And the fun part, here's the secret, is you can text us back at that number. We read them. We love them. We can't carry on a conversation with you via text because it's very expensive, but people have been doing a great job of texting us, keeping us entertained, educated, and apprised of what's going on in the world of the Canarium. I do want to give a shout out to 517 who texted, "Please pray for me. My dog just died." Oh. That's very sad. So sorry to hear that. You want to hit the producers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Producers, assemble!
All right, everybody. You are a producer. A producer, someone who spiritually produces the show by praying for the show, praying for us, praying for other producers. It's a very important part of the community that keeps the show going. So everybody, we're praying for 517, whose dog just died. That's extremely sad and never a fun thing. So we pray that the Lord gives you guys comfort and goodness gracious. That is one of the hardest things to go through, I'd say.
Yeah. The last time I remember truly really
sobbing,
bawling. Yeah,
as a
sobbing,
man.
like uncontrollable sobbing.
Yeah.
Is putting down the dogs. It's, I wasn't expecting it either. It just kind of overcomes you. It's crazy.
No, it's crazy.
But,
Thank you. God bless you, 517. 856 texted and says, Canary Cry is not governed by bank holidays.
That's
right.
Is that what this is today?
That's what this is. It's a bank holiday.
Yes, you're right. I mean, thank you for the Memorial Day remembering our fallen, but also, yeah, I mean, it is a bank holiday, and we're moving.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is we're not governed by the Mammon. Mammon's not deciding what days are feast days. Memorial Day, of course, we want to honor every human being, man, woman, or otherwise, who has served this country, especially in combat, paid prices that, I mean, even if you survive that sort of thing, the price you paid is higher than anything than anybody in my generation is familiar with. So we are very grateful to all of our armed services and really anybody who makes the makes it a personal sacrifice to serve their country. So thank you very
Right.
much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strangely enough, Gons, we got a text from 785.
Mm-hmm.
Says our family dog just got killed by a car.
Oh
Sad
my
day, Basil.
gosh.
Very sad
What
day.
is going
Two
on?
in one day. That is very strange. Two totally different area codes, two different people. You know, we were noticing there's a lot of Canarians texting about strokes. I don't know what it goes on, but
Yeah.
these timing things are so strange. So we're producers out there. We're praying for 785 as well, whose dog just passed as well. Jeez Louise, come on, folks.
Well, hopefully another God-given, blessed furry creature, finds you guys.
That's right.
Is able to fill that.
One last one here from 616 who says, Basil, loved hearing you on Millennial Mustard Seed podcast. I love when my podcasts come together. It was a pleasant surprise. I am a new listener of yours and Gonz's within the last year. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thank you, 616.
Hey, thank you.
And a great announcement out there. I believe Millennial Mustard Seed just dropped the episode on Friday. You can go hear me on that podcast. Had a great time hanging with Rod and chatting. It's I love that podcast because they not only do they let me go off on weird stuff, but they appreciate me going off on weird stuff, and that's always a nice
That's
thing.
all you're looking for.
I'm
It's
just
a little-
they really honor me over there, and I really appreciate that. So go check out Millennial Mustard Seed podcast, folks.
Yeah, it's Basil. It's S6 season 6 episode 22A. Basil Rosewater CCR Dolphin Portals Nephilim Tech and Unlocking the Veil.
Yeah,
So
it's
there
a
you
good
go.
one. You're gonna want to check it
Dolphin
out.
Portals. Huh?
Dolphin portals. This is not a theory of mine. This is a theory of Rod's. But I was given the opportunity, the gracious permission to help flesh out the dolphin portal theory there with Rod.
Nice.
And Aaron.
Dolphins are smart. They're very smart.
Dude, he's got a really weird dolphin testimony on that episode that really kind of blows my mind. So I don't know. Go check it out. Okay. And just a heads up, I also did record another episode for Millennial Mustard Seed with Dan Duvall.
Oh, okay.
So our buddy Dan Duvall from back in the day, he's charging it.
He's
He's great. It's a great episode. Another opportunity for well, in that one there's 4 of us. I believe her name was Carly. I apologize if that wasn't your name. I apologize so much, but I believe her name was Carly, Rod, and then we had Dan Duvall and myself. It's a great show. So go check out Millennial Mustard Seed, folks. They're doing good stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And
Excellent.
thank you, 616, for the text. And everybody else, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226.
Okie dokie.
All right, AI time, baby. Let's go.
AI.
Artificial intelligence.
You want to destroy humans?
Okay, I will destroy humans.
I don't know if we're considered trendsetters per se. Maybe we're trend identifiers as watchmen looking over the horizon. But I've noticed a lot of sentiment change on AI, especially coming from mainstream or, I don't know, journalists and things of that nature. We did have our interview with Zoltan Istvan a couple of weeks ago, running for the governor of California for 2026. And he did a 180 on not just the title transhumanism or the phrase or name transhumanism, but specifically AI, saying in that interview that, he had written about a book's worth of pro-AI articles in the last decade, but now he's sort of backing off on all the positive stuff, still thinking there's some positivity there, but really kind of worried about how it's prone to take over everything, like the energy production through our nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
I mean, that level of stuff. So it's been interesting to watch, and there's been articles like this the last couple of months. This is just a headline. I'll read the article that I want to get into, but this is coming from livemint.com, and it's titled, How I Realized AI Was Making Me Stupid and What I Do Now. So I was like, okay, they go into they reflect something that I've noticed too. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Basil, but I remember when Google became a thing. It was Ask Jeeves for a little bit was the first one, but then, once Google became more normalized, I remember thinking like, and it was a joke. Oh, you can just Google it. Oh, why don't we Google it? Hey, but just a little goog on that. Let's find out what's going on.
Stupid name. What a stupid,
Right.
silly
It was a silly
word.
name, but then eventually it became a verb, you gotta Google it. So, and I remember thinking at the time, like, wow, I really have a sense of turning off parts of my brain that had developed over the years of looking for information or, the methods by which to hunt down information, and really feeling like, wow, it's pretty profound, the level of brain turning off that I'm feeling. And I recently have been saying I feel somewhat similar with AI. It's like there's a part of your brain that kind of shuts off because it's like, oh, you can get from point A to point B very quickly. So I can understand people saying, oh, it's making me stupid. It's making me, not smart or whatever. So that sentiment, I'm noticing people write about it and, publish about it. Which
May I just
change.
make a mention of an article
Sure.
that I didn't bring, but it's fitting right in with what you said. There was an article, who is this from? The New York Magazine says Google is burying the web. And basically the whole thing was about Google transitioning over to AI. And
with their new software, by the way.
And
crazy.
with that, SEO is a big thing because you want to be found when people search. And with Google switching over to AI, search just doesn't exist. They're not giving you, they still do, but they're sort of burying it and avoiding it. Where you used to search something and then you get a list of blue links and you get to search and find the sources. And Google's transition to totally getting rid of giving you blue links and sources and just coming up and giving you an AI rundown of everything. And then on top of that, there was recent data that came out that was Google's market share of search was down something like 89% last month. Now I guess the untold part of this was that yes, a lot less people are Googling things because they have ChatGPT or they're asking Grok or something like that.
Yeah.
But also Google itself is sort of seeing the writing on the wall and destroying search on their own behalf because, but 80%
controlled demolition. It's what, some of these military industrial complex blueprint. It's a very common thing, If you got something new, you got to destroy the old thing, especially if there's monetary flow happening there.
And of course, this is something that we've said for years would inevitably happen. But like so many things in the news today, we are coming to the point where the crazy fringe theories from 2, 4, 5, 10 years ago are now becoming reality. And so that's where we are on that. We're basically in the new version of how to use the internet fully.
Yep, absolutely. With the that sentiment of turning off part of your brain, New Atlas had an article that I want to share with you. It's titled "AI is rotting your brain and making you stupid." So there's a lot of negative sentiment going on. And by the way, there's an image. I'm sure this is AI generated image of what's the style here? This is like old.
It's like a old comic book style,
comic strip style. Yeah, something like that. And there's a woman, and there's a robot hand that is covering her eyes and face.
It is a robot face sucker from the Alien movies.
Yes. But it is a robot version, and ironically enough, if I'm not mistaken, there are 6 fingers on there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I count 8, but I see
Maybe
what you're
there's
saying.
8. Maybe there's more. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it's always interesting how there's not 5. It's always more than that. It says here, for nearly 10 years, I've written about science and technology, and I've been an early adopter of new tech for much longer. As a teenager in the mid-90s, wow, I think we're peers. I annoyed the heck out of my family by jamming up the phone line for hours with a dial-up modem, connecting to bulletin board communities all over the country. Yes, those rebellious years. You may not remember those years as well, Basil, of using the phone line for the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And if somebody called you, then the internet was shut off.
Yes.
I was very mad at whoever had to.
I was playing StarCraft online during those days, so I'm very familiar.
Really, in the 90s? Wow, that's intense.
I was a young gamer kid.
Yeah. Only the rich kids had that stuff. So you must have been a rich kid. When I started writing professionally about technology in 2016, this is the author here, I was all for our seemingly inevitable transhumanist future. When the chip is ready, I want it immediately stuck in my head, I remember saying proudly to our busy office. Why not improve ourselves where we can? Okay, since then, my general view on technology has dramatically shifted. Watching a growing class of super billionaires erode the democratizing nature of technology by maintaining corporate controls over what we use and how we use it has fundamentally changed my personal relationship with technology. Seeing deeply disturbing philosophical stances like long-termism, effective altruism, and singularitarianism envelop the minds of those rich, powerful men controlling the world has only further entrenched inequality. So I have a Face Like the Sun video planned where I comment a little bit more on our interview with Zoltan. But yeah, I found, I believe where some of this sentiment is coming from. It's coming from, quote unquote, the universities, the sort of ivory tower legacy, I don't know, places like Oxford.
The very people who would have slammed anybody who
Questioned.
was skeptical or questioned of the technological progress. Yeah, that's a good point. You're seeing the exact people. Zoltan's a good example. This writer is a great example of in this almost as quick and as surprising as we're seeing Gen Z turn to Christianity and turn to God in many different ways. The strange speed at which we're seeing these sort of, whether they're true transhumanists or just like your normie, tech enthusiasts or whatever, the speed at which we're seeing so many of them change their minds on this is very, it's almost suspicious. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned Black Mirror because you can't not mention Black Mirror without talking about this topic. I mean, you talk to any normie, all they talk about is Black Mirror. Man, there's still people.
Black Mirror is so old. Like, it's crazy.
It says here they use a bad word. They're coming up with bad words. Let's see. A recent article looked at how generative AI, such as ChatGPT, is being used by university students. The piece was authored by tech admin at New York University and is filled with striking insights into how AI is shaking the foundations of educational institutions. Not surprisingly, students are using ChatGPT for everything from summarizing complex texts to completely writing essays from scratch. Oh, that's kind of... But one of the reflections quoted in the article immediately jumped out at me. When a student was asked why they relied on generative AI so much when putting work together, they responded, quote, "You're asking me to go from point A to point B. Why wouldn't I use a car to get there?" Question mark, end quote. My first response was, of course, why wouldn't you? It made complete sense for a second. But then I thought, hang on.
Uh-oh.
What is being lost by speeding from point A to point B in a car?
A lot.
What is being lost? Let's further the analogy. You need to go to the grocery store. It's a 10-minute walk away, but a 3-minute drive. Why wouldn't you drive? Well, the only benefit of driving is saving time. That's inarguable. You'll be back home and cooking up your dinner before the person on foot even gets to the grocery store. Congratulations, you saved yourself about 20 minutes. In a world where efficiency trumps everything, this is the best choice. Use that extra 20 minutes in your day wisely. But what are the benefits of not driving, taking that extra time, and walking? First, you have environmental benefits. Man, these people just cannot shake some of this stuff. Not using a car unnecessarily, spewing emissions into the air, either directly from combustion or indirectly for those with electric cars. Okay, that's your first thought. Secondly, you have health benefits from the little bit of exercise you get by walking. Our stationary lives are quite literally killing us, so a 20-minute walk a day is likely to be incredibly positive for your health. But there are also more abstract benefits to be gained by walking this short trip from A to B. Walking connects us to our neighborhood. It slows things down, helps us better understand the community and environment we are living in. A recent study summarized the benefits of walking around your neighborhood, suggesting the practice leads to greater social connectedness and reduced feelings of isolation. You did a study for that, Basil.
Yeah, I was gonna.
You walk around the neighborhood, you feel connected to the neighborhood.
I was gonna say
science.
Maybe there's a punchline you're getting to or something here, but it sounds like this person is just now arriving at some like incredibly basic conclusions that anybody who didn't use AI to write this article would kind of keep in mind inherently. Like, as he's reading this, I'm like, I hope you're not just coming to this conclusion, because like you almost don't even need to write this down. Like, everybody knows this already.
Yes, I know. So he talks about all that. He gets to this part here. In general, the line, almost all those. Oh, so he asks media professionals if they used AI. The response was varied. Some people used it a lot for all of their content production. Other people said, I use it sparingly for certain things. In general, the line almost all those media professionals shared was they would never explicitly use AI to write their articles. But for some, almost every other stage of the creative process in developing a story was fair game for AI assistance. I found this a little horrifying. Farming out certain creative development processes to AI felt not only ethically wrong, but also like key cognitive stages were being lost, skipped over, considered unimportant. And yes, this is... Yeah, like you said, yes, they are finally realizing this. And you know what's funny though is even the analogy of the student with the car is a little bit of a fallacy as well. I understand the counter argument to that this author is presenting, that hey, you know, there's the ends don't always justify the means. You know, you're taking out some important steps in critical thinking or producing a piece of content. Where you have to educate yourself, you have to think about something, you got to retain some of that knowledge, you got to, you know, a lot of the brain power parts. So yes, that makes sense. But I don't know, if you extend that analogy even further, it's almost like you don't even need to go to the grocery store because a robot's going to go get the food for you, kind of thing. I mean, it's completely demotivating any purpose to go outside with AI. It's not just taking a car; it's literally taking out the entire reason to do anything.
Yeah,
So,
you know, it's interesting. For our own stuff, one way that I use AI for anything resembling work is simply to cut up like old videos for clips and stuff. And we've got a pretty good system down, and it gets, you know, and there's a thing with that is all the creative part is already done. It's just honestly the excruciating tedium of video editing that I find myself less and less able to do as I grow older. So that's very nice. I have tried to use it, for instance, in my ongoing research with like Edward Bernays, Value for Value, The Occult Roots of Advertising. You know, I've put together a few just documents to kind of help me put my thoughts together. And I find it almost entirely useless because it is unable to help me synthesize any new thoughts. Like I'll say, put together a list or blah, blah, blah to this. And then I read it. I'm like, again, in the same way of this article, I'm like, all of that is so obvious. You didn't even need to write it down. And so then I will go in and say, well, actually, look, there's this very interesting connection. I'm talking to ChatGPT here and go, actually, there's this very interesting connection between Aleister Crowley and, you know, Sigmund Freud and Edward Bernays.
And then it says, you're brilliant. Your groundbreaking research is compelling
me.
Oh,
my gosh. I never thought of this before. I'd never heard of anybody. I go, yeah, that's right. I'm synthesizing new thoughts, baby. I don't need you. And you know, part of me is like, okay, I'm a little relieved because I don't even have the desire to use the thoughts that it gives, you know, me on a topic because they're so basic and I'm busy over here, you know, unlocking the secrets of the universe, seeking out the mysteries of God like a king, you know. And ChatGPT is not very helpful in those endeavors, and I'd recommend that to everybody. But the thing in the schools, I mean, we're now seeing just a flood of news and content stuff coming out about how horrible this is. The videos on TikTok or whatever of teachers being like, "Oh my gosh, these kids are so dumb. They're so dumb. These kids, they don't know anything," which was recently reflected in a lawsuit where this gal graduates high school, gets into college, and I thought that she had graduated college. She had gone through, but whether she just got into college or she graduated college, she did not know how to read or write. Anything. Read
How
or
do you get
write.
through school?
She had been sent
reading
through
and
the
writing.
system, and there's a little
She
bit
an
of like
athlete?
there's a little bit of it's like lower income school, so it seemed like the
Sure.
schools were just kind of passing her through the system, didn't really care about teaching her. She was a minority gal, so they're just kind of like passing her, letting her through without challenging her, that kind of stuff. Not just without challenging her, without teaching her to read. This woman was like 20 years old, and they just passed her through the system, and now she's suing the school, the school district who just blasted her through high school. And she was saying, I just used AI for everything. I didn't, I don't know. Nobody asked me to read anything in class, and when I couldn't read, they just didn't care. I don't even know really. I mean, she has a very rudimentary ability to read and comprehend. It's not like she doesn't know like what A is or something, but she was so poorly taught to read and write that she would just go voice activate ChatGPT, not even type to ChatGPT. She would voice activate to ChatGPT, here's my assignment, do this assignment, write this paper. And then she would just print it and turn it in. Couldn't even read the thing that ChatGPT wrote for her. And so, she's suing everybody out the wazoo, which good for her. I think she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's dark out there. It's dark out there.
It is
folks.
getting dark out there. I got another article on that in just a second here. It says here, almost every technological advancement in human history can be seen to be accompanied by someone suggesting it will be damaging. Calculators have destroyed our ability to properly do math. GPS has corrupted our spatial memory. Typewriters killed handwriting. Computer word processors killed typewriters. Video killed the radio star. And what have we lost? Well, zooming in on writing, for example, a 2020 study claimed brain activity is greater when a note is handwritten as opposed to being typed on a keyboard. And then a 2021 study suggested memory retention is better when using a pen and paper versus a stylus and tablet. I thought that was interesting. That, because you think you're maintaining some level of, I don't know, retention or brain activity with a stylus and tablet because it's much like drawing with a pen and paper, but apparently not. So there are certain trade-offs whenever we choose to use a technological tool to offload a cognitive task.
Which, again, I would just want to remind everybody, we've brought it to the show before, in the mythos that is Thoth, the Egyptian god, bringing the magic of writing down to the pharaohs. Long story, I won't go through it totally, but, if we talk about the systems of magic brought by the Watchers, the myth, the Egyptian myth goes, Thoth comes down, brings writing to the Egyptians, and the pharaoh at the time says these exact same words. Like, now that we can write, we will remember nothing. We won't even remember how to speak to one another. And so, I made a tongue-in-cheek X post today, just like, you know what? I've come to the conclusion that everything is precedented. Every single thing that we are seeing in the earth today is precedented. Nothing is original. Nothing is new. Everything's precedented. All the way down to this like AI thing, because it's really just a retelling of the Thoth myth, or who knows, maybe history.
Yeah, it's mythology being created over and over again, the same old mythos. And it bridges to this other article from Fortune, and it's titled, High School Students Are Totally Behind and Addicted to Their Phones. It's making teachers crazy and driving them to quit.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see you had this. Man, it is so fun watching these videos on TikTok of these teachers complaining about this.
Says here, Gen Z and Gen Alpha's obsession with social media, like doom scrolling on TikTok, is making the classroom a living nightmare for some teachers and driving them to outright quit. While the rise of ChatGPT has promised to revolutionize the field for the better, students may be moving faster than school guidance, which is always kind of the case, to be honest with you. But it's just different when the technology accelerates with information gathering, sorting, production, all that stuff. As schools around the country are beginning to let out for the summer, many classrooms may not only find themselves empty of students, but teachers too. That's because for thousands of educators, this year may have been the tipping point on calling it quits, with social media like TikTok and technology like ChatGPT piling stress onto the already overworked and underpaid field. Quote, technology is directly contributing to the literacy decrease we're seeing in this country right now, said one teacher who went viral on TikTok after quitting her high school English teacher job. Quote, I'm actually leaving the profession. I'm quitting. Friday is my last day, end quote. But she's not alone. Over half of educators, 55%, said in 2022 they were thinking about leaving the profession earlier than they had planned. Across the country, over 400,000 teaching positions are either unfilled or are staffed by teachers without proper certification, according to Desiree Carver-Thomas, senior researcher at the Learning Policy Institute. But that number is still conservative, she says, with some schools facing up to 20% turnover rate. Now, Basil, there's a big void here in educators. Most of our kids are learning stuff from YouTube anyway at this point, right? Unless you're doing things with them off grid, you know. And so I think this is, you know, the offboarding of physical flesh teachers is happening. It's almost like the social engineers put the pressure on an industry like education for, you know, create the atmosphere for people like teachers especially to quit. Because the robots are here, man. The robots are going to take over education for a portion of people. But also, I think this is reflected in the boom of homeschooling the last few years. Of course, COVID is a big part of that. But, you know, just the movement into, hey, parents, maybe take a little more responsibility over your children's education because, of course, the public school system has failed so miserably. But a certain segment of the population, they're just going to hand over the kids from unqualified teachers to robots. You know what I mean? That's coming.
Right.
So that we're going to see that in the next couple years, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. As I continue to stay abreast of all the other podcasts, the whole podcastosphere, and of course, we've seen advertising infiltrate these podcasts in a way that is just excruciating. There's now tons of advertisements for AI homeschooling technology,
right.
tutoring
Yes,
technology, math, you know, all this kind of stuff. Because we're seeing, especially in the conservative circles, people finally coming to the conclusion of like, oh yeah, to not homeschool is just silly. But you know, when you get down
now
to
we got
it,
the tools to teach homeschool with the AI.
Right. Not every adult is going to be able to really sit down for the time that it requires, much less learn the things again that they have to teach the children. And so now there's an easy out, which is these sort of AI homeschooling programs, which then brings back the problem of the establishment control over education in the home. And, you know, it's a sneaky way for the establishment to, even to those rascally homeschoolers, to make sure establishment gets into the kids' life there.
Now, you and I have both tinkered and used AI for various things. It's gotten me to think that I can code, which I can't, but you know, I'm learning. I'm learning. The thing is, I'm learning how it all works, right? By doing what I'm doing with the AI, with the coding thing, and trying to build something, is trial and error, right? I try something, it works, yay, cool. Try another thing, it fails, and then try again and try again and try again. So there's a persistence there from the human side of things, but that's not always the case. And so in a lot of AI talk, a lot of how do we deal with it, because it's coming, it is a tool in a sense, much like a digital audio workstation is a tool where folks, I don't know if you know this. I mean, people listening probably do, but before the digital audio workstation, where you can literally just take an audio file and start splicing it up and editing and cutting things out. They used to do it because it was on tape, like a physical tape. They used to get razor blades. And these are like, you know, top level, big record label music, you know, albums and stuff. They would take razor blades and cut out physically the little chunk of audio that sounded good. And then, you know, piece together a drum track for a drummer or something. Go ahead.
Same in film too. Scotch tape. That's what original Scotch tape was for taping back physical film. Right.
So that tedious thing was replaced by all this digital audio and digital, all kinds of workstations. And, the purists will say, hey, you got to stick to tape, you got to stick to analog. And there's something nostalgic about it. There's a quality, a tone that you can maybe get out of that in terms of audio. But even when a band is like, we're keeping it real, we're running it through an analog mixer or whatever, ultimately it goes to a digital audio workstation and gets mastered and whatever. So it's become ubiquitous in that way. And I think it's similar with AI, but it's just progress, even more progress in that.
Well, that's certainly spoken like a true technocrat who wants.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you
in.
and I are necessarily Luddites, correct? We're not like Luddites entirely against AI or anything like that.
The point anybody should take from our stories is that AI doesn't help us very much. It's not that great.
Well, here's something that I think will help, and this is a work in progress. So I think this is a communal thing that we can chisel together. But I was thinking about putting together some kind of Canary Cry 10 commandments for wise AI use. So I have an outline here, and we can change it. We can update it. But do you mind, Basil? I want to run through these real quickly and see what you think.
Sure.
Okay. Number 1, thou shalt not offload thy thinking entirely unto the machine. Is that a good one?
Seems reasonable, yeah.
Seems reasonable, okay. Thou shalt seek understanding, not just output.
Yeah, sounds good.
That makes sense, right? So instead of just looking for the end thing, you got to try to go through and understand it. Thou shalt discern and verify what the model speaketh.
Check facts. Check is that what you're
what
saying?
it tells.
Fact
Yes,
check. Right.
Yes, fact check, cross reference, question
Find your
the
own
framing.
sources.
Yes. AI is not omniscient, so it will make mistakes. So I think it's like an approach thing, right? It's a mindset type thing. Number 4, thou shalt build upon the machine, not stand beneath it. AI is scaffolding. It's a certain type of architecture, but you still need the human being to really use it. It's not. There are some autonomous elements, but even them. And I was thinking about this, and I was pondering about it. Where how we have right now, we have like AI musicians or AI artists or something like that. We've talked about this, how behind that AI is either an individual or like a team of people who have like built this AI, and they don't necessarily get credit. They offload the credit to the AI, but ultimately it is a human creation. And I think people tend to forget that all of this is part of what humans have created. To your point about there's nothing new under the sun. So, just keeping that in mind, because I think people have a tendency to think that it's so powerful and it's all-knowing and stuff like that. People go down a bad path. Let's see. Thou shalt own thy voice and authorship. I guess that's what I was talking about there, where human ownership over things is vital. Thou shalt learn.
This drives me crazy when it comes to people on X. Even the most popular, highly viewed conservative ex-citizen journalists, you read their stuff and the AI clues are all over it. I mean, it's just it's like so obvious. Right? Yeah, I don't know. Once you read enough AI, you can spot it. Things like the use of M dash, things like it's not this, it's that. Right. And it always appears. That phrase especially is in all AI created X content.
This is a good one. I think that, again, best practice or ethical practice. Thou shalt learn before automating. So, study your, whatever your thing is you're doing, learn how it all works as much as you can, and then use the AI with precision for specific things.
Yeah, it's good. It's focused on self-improvement, on actually, improving your brain. That's important.
Yeah, improving your brain. Don't just turn it off. Thou shalt not use AI for deceit, plagiarism, or disguise, which, of course, is, I think, part of being someone who does...
I might need to get a auto AI deepfake face at one of these points. It's possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, there is a little bit of disguise going on with that, but there's not necessarily deceit in a sense, where you're not like lying to the public that you're covering your face, you're telling everybody like, hey, this is not me. It'd be a problem if you pose as somebody else or something like that. But also, this type of thing will inevitably, hopefully, restore value of in-person, human to human type of relationships.
Right.
All this AI stuff, hopefully, reinforces that, and that can kind of keep our humanity going there. Let's see, and also if you're a content creator like we are, publishing your stuff in the public, like putting it out there, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with that. And with AI, I think it, like you said, kind of drives you crazy when somebody used AI with something, and it's I don't know,
there's
there's
two sides of it. Yeah, one of it is the passing off work that you didn't do as your own work.
Yeah.
Like, why not just say, AI wrote this for me, but I think it's good, something like that. I don't know.
Right.
But also, nuts. What did you just say? My brain just
about
flipped.
content creators publishing it, making it public. There's accountability of
yes.
stuff out there.
Yeah, and taking respect. There's been some time. It's not like a huge thing, but like if AI includes something that you don't necessarily believe, but you just kind of like left it in there or something, like you're responsible for that. But you can't just say, "Oh, AI did it." Sorry.
Right. You can't just keep blaming AI for everything.
Yeah. Because I've seen
still put in the prompt.
Again, just in certain use cases, AI will kind of include a little detail. It's done it for me that I obviously don't believe. And I've seen other people do. And I don't post AI stuff necessarily, so it's not necessarily a problem for me. But I've seen other people, like, it'll just slip in a little comment or a little something just in the long thread of text or whatever that it did, that is like, wait a second, this person believes the opposite of that. They've said that before,
right?
So now they have AI.
they didn't proofread thy AI text before publishing.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it. Is actually going back and checking what it's saying.
Yeah, some people don't do that. A couple more here. Number 8, thou shalt keep thy mind active, even in the age of automation. I think it speaks to all the stuff we're talking about here, is to do your own reading, writing, reflecting, literal writing, like, pen and paper type stuff, drawing, things of that nature.
Well, and it's there's an interesting concept there when it comes to the brain and the body, because the point that is being made in so many of these examples is that, yeah, your brain can do something or your brain cannot do something, but doing something with your body, like the body-brain connection is very strong.
Yes.
And for instance, taking a walk, has all these other cognitive effects. It's just moving your body, but, the brain-body connection, you start offloading everything. I mean, it's not even just your brain work. You pass off your body work too. Then you're sort of double atrophying, and it's just death all around.
Yeah. Number 9, thou shalt use AI to serve and edify others. So of course, use it to educate yourself or others, to uplift, to edify. I think there's some wiggle room there. I think you can use some of the technology for stuff like that, where it's positive. And
we
then
should be doing that all the time.
I know we should. I mean, this doesn't apply just to AI, obviously, but I think people in the context of AI.
Yeah,
no, you're yelling at me. Why are you yelling at me?
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Okay, number 10, thou shalt remember that true wisdom is not artificial, because AI is just a tool. It's not your consciousness. It's not maybe some principality or power's consciousness, but your source of truth should come from God and be led by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, there's an interesting distinction between wisdom and intelligence there. Solomon wasn't the most intelligent man in the world. He was the wisest king.
Yes,
seeking wisdom is a very, not only human thing, but also a very sort of spiritual thing. That's the sort of core of being a human in all of its physical and spiritual senses, is to seek wisdom, not just knowledge or intelligence. And yes, it's not called artificial wisdom.
You're right. And so it is just an application, a tool that is powerful, and it can be used for very, very nefarious reasons, and probably has already at this point. We're being honest about the sentient world simulation and things of that nature. They've bent the rules of ethics already, but as a common person that may start using AI, maybe we can help people swim through it and not feel like they're just doing the bidding of the beast or something, because there's some specific things in eschatological passages to look for when it comes to that particular thing.
Pulling a Zoltan. He's pulling a Zoltan. Gonz
No, I'm not.
I'm just messing with
I'm
you.
pro AI. Let's get the robots in. Let's full on jump
Get
into
in
the
there.
Zoltan bandwagon. I'll run with Zoltan.
Yeah, you know,
as
the
a
fun
Democrat.
the fun part about our people and our show and us is none of this is new at all. You know,
No, it's
when
not new
we're
at all. No, not at all.
2012 talking about AI and like, why do we talk about this? Because there's no AI. We don't have it yet. Well, it's about being prepared as believers, you know, to not be caught off guard by these sorts of things. And I think I've mentioned it before that we're at a very special advantage here in our group, in our community, because none of this is being considered for the first time. You know,
Right.
all of
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
No,
has been a
we've-
long career of contemplating what to do for just such an occasion.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that worries me with, coming up with a list like this or something like it is, I guess, like the politicization of it, like some politician can pick it up. Like, oh, this is amazing. Let's go with, and then, there's unwanted attention on us. Right. But one more thing with this whole AI thing, where it's headed, because, there is the slowness. You talked about that gal who had to talk into a laptop or something to talk to ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
That's slow. That's slow. We got to move quicker. PCMag.com. Valve's CEO wants to implant a chip in your brain.
Yay.
Of course. Yay. But this particular article...
This is particularly concerning because Valve is the maker of my current VR headset.
Okay. The startup from Valve co-founder CEO Gabe Newell plans to launch brain-computer interface chips as soon as this year. Just beware, Basil. I don't want the auto update to embed a microchip in your brain. That'll be the biggest conspiracy, is that those VR goggles had some predetermined nanobots in there that grow into some syringe that delivers a microchip into everyone's brains.
Yeah.
Valve's Steam has developed numerous acclaimed games like Half-Life, Portal, Counter-Strike, but don't expect exciting game tie-ins from the new chips, at least not right now. Rather than using your brain to play such rumored titles like Valve's Half-Life 3, chips from Starfish Technologies seem earmarked for treating neurological disorders like Parkinson's, much like Elon Musk's Neuralink. So they acknowledge that, okay, don't slow down. We're not going to be gaming with our brain chips just yet. We're still taking care of the people, Starfish has been around for a few years, but in an update posted this week, the company said it wants the chips to one day be part of, quote, minimally invasive distributed neural interfaces. Distributed, end quote. This is my favorite line from the article. They'll have simultaneous access to multiple brain regions, enabling the, quote, recording and stimulation of neural activity with a level of precision vastly exceeding what is possible with currently available systems, end quote. Now, this is one of those double-edged sword things where if you're a gamer and you're really striving for that low latency, a fraction of a second could determine whether you land that punch or you're whatever the game is. So that's great for them, but it's also recording and stimulating neural activity on various parts of your brain. Does that not concern you, Basil?
It does concern me. Yeah.
The startups says the chips are planning to emphasize, quote, minimal size and low power, with the, quote, intent of future integration into a fully wireless, battery-free implant, end quote. Starfish thinks these chips could one day prove useful for treating disorders where, quote, interactions between brain regions may be misregulated, requiring reading and writing to multiple connected parts of the brain at once to treat. Funny how people can't read or write, but they'll have brain chips that'll read and write different things to parts of their brains. So they're they're bringing out this microchip late 2025, and they're basically this article from PC Mag looking for volunteers. They bait people with the gaming to find volunteers is what this is right here.
Yeah.
This is a little bit concerning because they're skipping we're treating people with ALS, and there's stuff that we're helping with people now. But ultimately, can you imagine your reaction time, your latency to near zero, straight from the brain? Not even your physical body is too slow to respond to those neuropaths. To hit the trigger.
That will be a turning point, and I could see that if maybe it's a Red Book thing, maybe it's not. But we, of course, always have noted for many years that first they go with the, we're healing,
helping people,
we're helping, we're
restoring.
healing, we're restoring the body, stuff like that, and then comes the enhancement. And it sounds like, at least from what you're reading here, what I could very easily see is esports. A sort of first esports, either competition or esports athlete, something like that, getting a brain chip in order to, rock
and just dominate the league because they have the quicker trigger. Yeah,
especially because they're sponsored. They wear brands on their shirts. Like it's a huge
the
economy
shot
of esports.
The camera shots is going to be just people laying down with it, just branded with all kinds of sponsors, but they're just laying there, and then whatever's going on in the game is what their brain is doing.
So you could see, if these kids, these esports athletes, whatever, they don't want to, they probably aren't going to be paying for their own BCIs. It'll be like BCI provided, provided by Blizzard or something like that.
Ugh, geez Louise. Okay, well, that's coming. I think brain to brain type of stuff is coming. We have B2B, business to business. We have P2P, peer to peer. We're in the age of brain to brain, B2B, another B2B, brain to brain, where people are going to be just interacting brain to brain, whether it's sending crypto or fighting in a Street Fighter 10 game or something, trying to land a Hadouken or something.
Let's take a second, Gons, and thank the rest of our producers here for this episode.
Yes. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, we are on the value for value model, folks. You know this. It means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, non-government organizations, the Vatican, you name it. We don't take money from them. And there's all sorts of big spiritual reasons for this. It's not just because advertisements are annoying and infuriating. I won't tell the specifics, but goodness gracious, they are getting very bold with the placements of these advertisements and some of these alternative media things. It's really actually quite scary. But not here. We are entirely funded, sustained, and supported by you, by producers of this show. Because when you come in, you support the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. That means you're a producer. I mean, it's quite simple. It's a system that's been around for a very long time. Perhaps one might even consider themselves a patron of the arts, whatever it takes for you to understand and appreciate that there's no corporate incentives getting involved in your news analysis and deconstruction, and that's the way it should be. It is corporate, government, Vatican incentives worming their way into the economic system of through the economic system of advertising. That is part of the very literal sort of commoditization, harvesting, or maybe even slavery of each and every one of our minds for the purposes of corporate fortune. But not here. It's called value for value. We got people coming in with their time, their talent, their treasure. I want to thank some people who came in under the executive producer amount to make sure that this show exists for another episode. Ready, Gons?
Ready.
Starting out with producer Sir Darren Knight of the Hungry Panda, comes in for 3333, and he has a message here that says, the Gons got this. Basil be better. Producership.
Illuminatus!
Thank you, Sir Darren.
Thank you very much. Yes, it was in the email, it was in the text, it was everywhere. I spent the entire weekend absolutely sick as a dog, staring ahead, laying in bed, very bad. I am surprised that I'm able to speak today. For those who heard Clubhouse on Thursday, you heard me lose my voice live in real time. I then also did the Millennial Mustard Seed podcast the next day, which will be just a horrifying thing to listen to later. But I'm okay now. I'm speaking certainly more than I expected to speak for this episode. But keep praying for me because I am sick as a dog. So thank you very much, Sir Darren out of the Hungry Panda.
Thank you, Sir Darren. Appreciate you.
Next up, we got producer Kevin K, who signed up for the T-shirt Council.
Kevin K, T-shirts. Very important person.
Yes. Why don't you take a second, line up that Canary Cry T-shirt Council jingle, and I'll cover for you. We got the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. You've heard about the supply drop, but go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. It's the very same thing. Support the show on a monthly basis, and then every quarter you will be part of the most important group of people on this planet, those who help us decide on the quarterly Canary Cry T-shirt, and you will receive it for free. So go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com.
Canary Cry T-shirt Council.
Next up, we got producer The American Hobo coming in for 2332, and he is on a 13-episode streak.
Thank you, American Hobo.
We've got Sir Morv, Night of the Burning Chariots, 777, 2-episode streak.
2-episode streak. Thank you, Sir Morv.
We've got producer Aaron B coming in for $7.77, 27-episode streak.
Thank you, Aaron B.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will.
Ba-boom.
We have producer Anonymous, I believe, came in for $8.88.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. Oh, and we've got Cage Rattler Coffee coming in 29 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Cage Rattler Coffee.
Cage Rattler Coffee.
Cage Rattler Coffee. Where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. Head on over to Cage Rattler Coffee. This is producer created, producer roasted, producer packaged coffee just for Canarians, okay? So go ahead, go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Continue to hear that Cage Rattler Coffee is a superior product. And here's the thing. Look, we get it. Some people aren't quite ready to produce in the traditional sense, but you still got to get coffee. If you're drinking coffee, you should be making coffee at home, and you should be getting that coffee from CageRattlerCoffee.com. We got the Nephilim Hunter Dark Roast. We got the Emu Wrangler Medium Roast. We got beans from all over the world, and every batch is roasted in extremely small batches by a loving, caring Canarian. And the whole thing, from top to bottom, is Canarian-led, and a portion of every sale goes to support the show. So you might as well get your coffee from here. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing, because it's also the best you could possibly get. Excuse me. I was just looking to see if we had a new discount thing for this week. I'm not sure if we do, but I know that we had, or they had the commemoration of the first GMO foods getting approved last week, many years ago. So the discount code organic, all caps organic, will get you an extra discount over there. We love that. I will find out soon if there's a new discount code for a new celebration of some notable event on the Canary Cry calendar. We'll find that out. But thank you. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com, support the show, and get all jazzed.
Yep, let's do it. Get your coffee.
Okay. I'm keeping track of the streakers under 777. We're going to thank them doubly much on Wednesday. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
Those coming in under $7.77. And once again, big ol' shout out to all of our monthly producers. We couldn't do it without you, and we can't thank you enough. Whether you're coming in for the T-shirt council, the supply drop, or you just pick your own number. Whether you're coming in on the Patreon or the monthly option over at canarycry.support, whatever that is, go to canarycry.support to learn all about it.
Come on, Jingle. Come on, Jingle. Play for me. There it is. It's like an old horse. You gotta spur it once in a while.
I'm seeing now that I've missed so many important text messages while I was hallucinating in bed all
good.
weekend. So if I owe you a text message, I apologize. I'm just coming to consciousness.
Okay.
Okay, with that, what do you think? You want to bring us out of the show? Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I got a couple things to run down here, and then we can get out of here.
Okay, sounds good. I am starting to sweat. I might need to take a second. We'll see how long I can make it, but I might need to take a lap real quick.
Okay.
So
Douse yourself up.
Yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, this is coming from Reuters.com. The headline, a lot of Reuters today. I realize this is like our third Reuters article. European stocks recover after Trump delays EU tariffs in hopes of deal. Just to get a quick rundown here, European shares kicked off the week on a positive note on Monday, recouping the previous session's losses as markets heaved a sigh of relief after U.S. President Donald Trump delayed his threat to impose 50% tariffs on the region. So on Sunday, Trump extended the deadline for tariffs to July 9th from June 1st after European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the 27-nation bloc needed more time to produce a deal. And, the big takeaway here, Trump is still kind of dealing with the tariffs and using it as kind of like an economic weapon against the world. And really what it comes down to, what I'm noticing just repeatedly, the patterns with what Trump is doing with this is that day by day with this whole tariff thing happening, this is meant to really, I think, test the, I'm going to start calling it the Trumpy Pumpy power, just because it's got a fun little ring to it, the Trumpy Pumpy power, because whatever market is targeted with these tariffs, he says something about the tariff, or he threatens something, and those markets completely tank. And then he says, we'll negotiate, whatever. And then boom, they recover. So it's almost like Trump is seeing how much power he wields over all the world markets. And it's probably because there's a little bit of infrastructure change coming to the entire fiat system, as I've been yelling and screaming about for years, Basil, and you guys are all sick of hearing about. But I think it's actually coming into fruition, and it's a way where the legacy Wall Street and everything else, they kind of see the writing on the wall more than ever. There was an interview on the Anthony Pompliano podcast. He's one of these pro-Bitcoin guys that has a podcast and has grown pretty big the last few years. He had a guest named Jordy Visser on recently. You can go look up the interview. I didn't clip it or anything for the show, but he basically talks about how and he's 30 years in Wall Street. He's a very experienced Wall Street guy, but he's coming out here and saying all of our projections for Bitcoin for this year has been low because for the first time, the entire world and especially people in Wall Street are seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to the fiat system. There's a problem. And they're just not going to wiggle their way out of it easily this time because the whole world is watching now, and the whole world is on board with this idea of moving away from the dollar. He suggests that the U.S. is okay with losing world reserve currency status if it recovers or is moved over to something like gold or perhaps something like Bitcoin, which both have the character trait of not being under the control of a central authority, or at least, with Bitcoin's case, some might argue that it's still kind of centralized power in a sense, centralized digital power. But that whole structure is changing. So in a sense, I can see Trump seeing what kind of economic influence he has all over the world, use the tariffs as this negotiation tactic, obviously, with the U.S., but ultimately it's because the U.S. dollar is going to go through a little transition. And this week, we have Bitcoin all-time highs. It's like $110,000 per Bitcoin, which is crazy. And in the midst, we have a Bitcoin conference. So it's been a year since Trump spoke at that Bitcoin conference, Basil. It's been pretty much a year since then. And Financial Times here has the headline, Trump Media Group plans to raise $3 billion to spend on cryptocurrencies.
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
So I'm sorry to all the people that are haters of crypto or skeptical It's going to happen. And I think the important thing is to understand minute details about it. Self-custody as opposed to either state custody or bank custody. And all these things start to matter as you get into this digital realm. But it says here the Trump family media company plans to raise $3 billion to buy cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin in a bet on the kind of digital assets that have been championed by the U.S. president's administration. Trump Media and Technology Group, which is behind the Truth Social app and controlled by the president's family, aims to raise $2 billion in fresh equity and another $1 billion via a convertible bond. There it is, a convertible bond, according to 6 people briefed on the matter. Whether you like it or not, Bitcoin cryptocurrencies is kind of the big bailout for the U.S. dollar, for fiat. It's what it is. And so all the stuff we've been seeing built the last few weeks with the Genius Act and Stablecoin Act and everything, it's preparing for this exit strategy, really, from the traditional fiat system.
Yeah.
And
you don't have
Trump
to like
is
it.
leading the way, you don't have to like it. Yes, this is just happening.
This is where a lot of people get mixed up with us and our reporting in relationship to Trump as well. We're just reporting the facts. We're not even advocating for this plan. We've been talking about this for so many years, and just is what it is. There is no way out of the fiat disaster system that has been boiling, roiling, and getting worse for the past 80 to 100 years. I guess 112 years, almost exactly 112 years.
Since
the Federal Reserve.
1913. Yeah, the creature from Jekyll Island.
So, everybody recognizes this. There is no answer to this disaster, to the fiat system. It's on a global scale, not even just for America. And once you come to that fact that there is no real answer, there is no solving it, there is no balancing the budget, there is no getting it under control. It does not exist. It is against the system itself to fix. The only way out is to blow it up and do an entirely new system. And that is what cryptocurrency is simply the facts. And it's unfortunate. It's almost pointless to try to say if you're in support of it or not, because nobody is in support of what we have right now. If you're in support, the only people who are in support of the fiat system now are the people who have not yet reckoned with the fact that it's going to explode no matter what. Doesn't matter if you like it or not like it. There's no way to fix it. It's going to explode. The whole world's going down with it. And so the cryptocurrency bit of it, whether you like Trump or not, whether you like cryptocurrency or not, is what we repeated for many years now, while people continuously told us they don't care about crypto and they're never going to care about crypto. It doesn't matter if you care or not. That's the other part of it. It does not matter if you care or you don't care. And we're just simply telling you the facts. This is how the world gets out of this black hole that was created 112 years ago. So, just in case anybody was tempted to think that we're sort of like advocating for some digital dollar stablecoin cryptocurrency
we've been
beast
saying it's
thing.
a quasi CBDC for years. So
it's not what's happening here. What's happening here is catch up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is just what's happening.
That's the thing.
It's not my fault. It's not Gonz's fault. It's just what it is.
I know. It's our fault that crypto is happening right now. No, but it's truly, you put these two headlines together, that Trump Media Group is raising $3 billion to buy crypto, and European stocks recover because Trump delays EU tariffs. Trump is sort of the Pied Piper in a sense for the rest of the world leaders to say, hey, I get it. The US dollar, it's not great. You guys have abused us, whatever, with the tariffs and all that. But also we're upgrading, like we're enhancing our little system here. I guess that's how they look at it, because they don't want the US dollar to necessarily die, but they want the US dollar to adapt. Yes. You're going to have to play with this new game of digital assets.
If you want to play with us, you got to play our game. Yeah, you got to play our game if you want to play, okay? It's always been that way. If America pulls the petrodollar, pulls the dollar, which they could collapse the dollar in an instant if they wanted to. There's a button that Trump could push that would destroy the entire world financial system, and they could do it at any point. And in fact, lots of presidents have threatened to do it, but they didn't have something else set up. They didn't have cryptocurrency. They didn't have stable coins. And remember, this 3 billion, this is not for the United States stockpile of cryptocurrency.
No, this is Trump
This
media.
is for his personal stockpile. So forget the politics. Forget everything. Forget he's even the president. The man is putting together a $3 billion stockpile and bringing in his crypto investors who pay $1.5 million for a junky plate of corporate convention food out of a deep fryer or whatever. You know, you saw the pictures of the food.
Yeah, some bad happened over the weekend with that, by the way. It was not a good Trump
This
outing.
is not, you know, we're done. It's 2025. You've got less than a year. Everything's going to change. Just get on. I'm not even telling you to buy crypto. I don't care. Don't buy crypto if you don't want to buy crypto, because they're going to give you crypto without you asking for crypto. It's already in place for the banks. You think your dollars are sitting as dollars in the bank? Maybe it is right now, but Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they've all got their stable coin set up to where you make a deposit into your bank. It no longer exists in dollars. They give you the amount of their own cryptocurrency that you cannot have back in dollars. Okay, this is where they're going. It's not a choice. So I don't know what to say, folks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I guess I'm just sorry.
You're sorry.
Just sorry for everything and everybody. That's all I gotta say.
And Basil and I have both lost all of our crypto in a boating accident. It's all gone. We don't have any cryptocurrencies anymore. So
yeah, I was keeping it in this safe in the boat.
Right. The boats, and so you're going to have to go seek the oceans to find the private keys. So one of the things that Trump did over the weekend
that actually
as well,
makes it sound like we have a significant amount, which is fun.
Which is yes. Well, I mean, it depends. Depending on what the world economy does and the price of Bitcoin, some could think of it as a lot. What was I going to say? The other thing was Trump over the last week threatened to put some tariffs, or at least the effects of the tariffs on Apple and iPhones. Did you remember? Did you hear about this last week, Basil? Apple's.
I heard about it. I didn't read it.
Basically, that Apple, if they're going to continue making phones out of this country, they're going to have to pay the tariffs on top of whatever, which I thought was very interesting, because, and this is you got to kind of be in the depths of Web3 to know this, but there is something. There's a blockchain called Solana. Trump's coin, Trump coin, that big one from earlier this year, is built on Solana. So Solana is kind of like a layer one, sort of like Ethereum, but a little different. It's a Silicon Valley project. They have a phone. Now, they released this phone a couple of years ago. Part 2 is coming out soon. I actually ordered one, Basil, so I will be the guinea pig for this. The Solana Seeker.
Okay.
The Seeker phone, where there's a built-in wallet and the whole deal. Apple's going to catch up to all that, I'm sure, and you're going to have all those features on an iPhone too. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because there is precedent, there is self-interest, whether you like it or not, of Trump seeing a blockchain like Solana succeed. And if Solana, a cryptocurrency project or layer one blockchain, is producing physical phones built in America, you don't think Trump wants that over Apple, who is outsourcing all the production? So just something interesting to keep in mind there, because, you never know. Some of these people or some of these companies that you think are just one thing, and they start moving into areas, how is anybody going to compete with Apple? Well, like this, new technology, new bleeding edge tech with crypto integrated into your phone. And so it's just interesting to watch. I'll be the guinea pig on some of this, and I'll let you all know when it's supposed to come out. It's supposed to ship in August, I think. So, yeah, just another angle to some of what Trump is doing here. And, it's pretty obvious, especially since apparently Baron Trump is just rolling in crypto. Basil. This is coming from blockchain.news, and I have the clip. I'll play it in a second here. The headline: Aiden Ross requests $250,000 loan from Baron Trump. Baron responds with Ethereum address request, crypto market implications. So here's the brief clip here, and I will decode it for some. I had to decode it because these young kids. I don't know what they're saying anymore. Here's 16 seconds of Aiden Ross, who's a very popular streamer. I'm sure people know who he is now because he had Trump on last year on his podcast. So here he is on the phone with Barron Trump.
What's up, brother?
Hey, brother. Can I get a loan?
How much you need?
$250.
ETH?
ETH? Yes.
All right.
I'm sending you my ID. I'll send you back tonight. On God, no matter what.
Okay, so apparently Aiden Ross wanted to prove not just his friendship with Barron Trump, which he has expressed before on big podcasts. He's come out and said like, "Hey, I'm friends with Barron. I talk to him every day." But then on his live stream here, calling him up, asking for a $250,000 loan, and Barron says ETH, and that's the ticker for Ethereum. And of course, you just heard Aiden there. Oh yeah, Ethereum, ETH, yes. And I'll send you my address and I'll send it back to you tonight. Just to kind of prove that I don't know that Aiden Ross can get it $250,000 of Ethereum from Barron Trump in an afternoon or something. I don't know what the point was necessarily, but this is the world we're going into, Basil. This is just kind of it's an indicator, if anything else, of where we're headed, And if a guy like Barron Trump is just throwing around Ethereum like it's nothing, giving friends loans, man, it's just going to be a different world.
Yeah, well, and
people can do things like this.
And keep in mind, there's an implicit threat in this clip as well, because there's no intermediary. There's no bank going to make fees. Right. There's no financial planner who's got to do the thing. There's no infrastructure between these two kids sending $250,000 to each other twice in one day.
Right, in one day, yes.
And even the time that it would take for you to call someone, call your whatever you got to do to move $250,000 in American cash, and then send it, back and forth. Even just how long would that take? It would take forever. I've never done it, so I guess I don't really know. But the idea is it would take maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 days, depending on how you're doing it, to send it once. But yeah, if you're a kid, you can just do it. There's just, you don't even need like a Coinbase account or anything.
Right.
I mean, that's the implicit threat to the system there.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And this is what are the guardrails that are going to exist for something like this? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out. But a lot of it will come in the form of stable coins. That'll be one way to do it, to track everything. But also, just real quick, this is the implications. This is more news here. CoinGeek.com. U.S. lawmakers of the Texas House passed Bitcoin reserve bill. We heard a lot about a national Bitcoin reserve earlier this year. We haven't heard much about it recently, but I think they're trying to build stuff. We may hear some things this week because it's the Bitcoin conference there in Las Vegas. But yeah, there you go. Some states, I think Florida's moving towards no capital gains tax on crypto. So, the country's moving. I think, what is it? Didn't Missouri have something similar too, that they're going back to either gold standard or no capital gains? Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff happening now where the friction is being eliminated. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's about 6 different states now that have gold and silver. Oh, I must have frozen. Well, it might be time to call it then. Gons, I do want to announce some very fun and interesting news that I am seeing here on our dashboard. And it's a toggle that says show comments on stage. One thing that died on the show when we switched over to this new streaming software is the ability to have the comments in the YouTube and the Rumble and whatever streaming on the show live, except for when we kind of choose them one at a time to highlight. I'm seeing here, show comments on stage, beta. So there's a beta test, Gone. Should I click it? Should I see what it will look like?
I see it. I'm hovering over it right now too. Just kind of tickling that button there. Go ahead. Press it. Let's see what happens.
Click it. I'm going to click it. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
I think somebody has to paste it. Say something, Sir Darren. Oh, there it is. Very small on the bottom right. I see it.
From the viewers will appear
Sir
on
Darren,
screen during
Sir Darren is coming in on the bottom right there. Do you see it, Basil? Bottom right of the screen. There you go.
It's so tiny.
It's so tiny.
So
It is.
tiny. Why is it so tiny? It's so small. How can I make it bigger? That's so funny. Oh gosh.
You can't.
I am
Can you
lagging
control it,
out
or is
pretty
it?
hard. It's
this is
so
a beta.
small.
It's a beta.
I
What'd you
don't know.
expect? It's beta.
I don't
it's
know.
beta. It's going to be
It's so
small, buddy. Come on, man. This
How
is
could
alpha.
anybody see that?
It's just covering
I
up
cannot
my
read
dog.
it.
It's covering up.
It is so small that it's. I remember I'm in VR, and so I'm looking at the screen, and it is about the equivalent of maybe a 100-inch television that I'm sitting 6 feet away from. It's humongous, and I still cannot read the comment.
Here, I changed our background so you can maybe see a little bit better of what's going on there. But yeah, okay.
No, it's not helping. But okay,
All
we'll
right,
figure it out.
StreamYard,
Maybe it'll let us resize it.
Yeah, we need some resizing. We need some opacity controls. Oh, look, you can make it. Wait, is this make it bigger for the whole screen or just the chat? Oh, it's the whole
No, it's
screen.
just for
Yeah,
you. It
it's the
just
whole
puts
screen.
you
Yeah,
into full screen.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here. My lag is getting bad. I can't. And we're to the point where I can't tell if the lag is my brain or if it's the computer or if it's StreamYard or if it's the internet. Or maybe it's just
All the
like my
above.
eyeballs are moving slow. I cannot tell. So we're going to go ahead and close out the show here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode. Thank you to all of our producers of all stripes coming in with their time, their talent, their treasure. We're going to catch up with some more producers and art producers on Wednesday.
Oh, I have breaking.
But
I
thank
have
you
breaking
to those
information.
producers who help us out with their time. There's so many of them. Is
Wow, that
breaking
lag-
information.
The lag is really bad. Sir Ike said that the code organic is still active. Well, there you go. 1, 2,
Yes.
3.
Yes.
3 seconds. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to the Clippies, of course, and thank you to the timestamper.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Jade Bouncerson coming in with the timestamps for episode number 843.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson. Thank you very much. Thank you to Jam for hitting up the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for hitting up the Discord. Go join these communities. You can join the Discord and the Telegram by going to canarycry.party. You'll find the links there. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for everything. Oh, I think I need to read something from Clank when I get off the show. So thank you, Clank. And other than that, don't share the show, folks. It's too laggy. People's brains are not able to comprehend the amount of data that is being transmitted to them through the voices of your best buddies, Basil and Gons. There's no possible way that their brain could fully comprehend the amount of nuclear-powered data center, remote-viewed beam of quantum data that they will receive. So save your friends, save your family, save your wife. Don't let them listen to the show. Or else they'll be overwhelmed and their brain will start lagging just like yours. But if you do decide to share the show, we do call it Rattling Cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, you got any last words?
Happy birthday to my sister. Oh, we're on opposite sides on the screen. That's because you left and came back. Happy birthday to my sister, and we'll see you all on Wednesday, which will be the last CCNT of May.
Wow. Incredible. Which means you're going to want to go join the Canary Cry Supply Drop, canarycrysupply.com. Get your Guns Prayer hat. Get your physical copy of the red tape. Get all the cool stuff that'll be sent out. I believe it's next month is going out, but you only have until the end of this month. There is a cutoff date, so don't miss it. Let's see, what else was I going to say at the end? I kind of forget. Oh, Canary Cry Clubhouse on Thursday. We'll be back on Wednesday with more news talk. We got stuff happening all over the place, folks. So we're so glad you're here. And if you get any value from any of it, please consider producing the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. But until then, I think that's it. Yeah, any other announcements, guys?
That's it for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap, just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man. I'm constantly having to remind myself to wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
feed her. There are 1,260 days.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.